Hey guys, welcome to the Gear.Locker. Today we're going to be going through a KSK IFAK, or Individual First Aid Kit. Similar to the radio video, I know very little of what's going on in here, so I decided to bring along a good friend of mine who actually does a lot of the photos and videos that you see on this channel and my Instagram, Shane. So Shane, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, so my name's Shane. I'm a volunteer firefighter and EMT here in the town that we currently live in. I've actually been doing that for probably on the later half of 5 years now. So I kind of have a little bit of experience with all that stuff. So it's going to be pretty interesting going through all this stuff. We haven't cracked it open or anything like that yet. So see what we can find.
Exactly. So yeah, as Shane mentioned, this is the first time I'm even opening this up and going through it. So I'm excited to take a look at what's inside. But just to give you a quick overview of what we've got on the outside, this is the Linderhof Tactic IFAK pouch. This is the multicam version, which is one of the first iterations that they did. And tucked in the side here is one of the tourniquets. But without further ado, let's take a look at what's inside here. Alright, so this pouch system is two parts, where you have your outer pouch and then your inner one, which is fully removable, as you see. And inside of it, it contains all of the IFAK pieces. Okay. Let's take a look through here. Go for it.
Alright, so let's see what we have here. So, we have needles for IVs. It looks like you have some saline flush or D50, which is just like sugar water in a way.
Let's pop it out.
So, yeah. Pretty much you have your own little IV pack here. You have needles. So here you have a couple of different size needles. Usually they'll be measured in gauges. So you have an 18 gauge, which is the screen, and then this orange one is a 14 gauge. The smaller the gauge, the bigger the bore of the needle is. So pretty much that'll just help push more fluids through.
Is this a needle as well for it, or?
I believe this is, let's take a quick look. I'm not too sure. Yes, this is another needle. It's a longer needle with a catheter. Yes. Then here you have a little set of tweezers, which is always good to have. You never know what you're going to be picking out of people.
Especially in a combat situation.
Exactly. Rocks, shrapnel, you name it. We have another 18 gauge needle here.
So that takes care of the outer section. Now with this IFAK, there's an inner pocket, which looks like it has a couple of interesting bits. Maybe this isn't a complete IFAK, but let's take a look at what we got in there.
So normally it looks like we have some dressings in here, some wound packing.
Oh, that's an emergency blanket.
Yes, emergency blanket. See?
Nice, I've never had an issued emergency blanket.
That's cool.
Yeah, that is neat.
So, pretty much for the emergency blankets are really good if you're out in the cold. It has a reflective tape on there to kind of keep you cool or keep you warm, kind of depending on how the weather is. Yeah, what the environment is. Going into the next stuff. Oh, this is interesting. So this is cool. So this little card you see here, you can write down and you can keep track of what administrations have been done to the patient or to your person that you're working on. So you kind of have what you see these pictures, you can kind of write down what you see, where the injuries are, what you see, how bad it is. These little letters or numbers here, so all the nines, in the EMS world they call that the rule of 9, so that's usually for burn victims. Kind of in the middle here for the listings you have your OPA, NPAs, which is for your airway stuff. Tourniquets, so you have your tourniquet on and off times, which is very important because obviously you can't leave a tourniquet on for too long because then you will start getting tissue death. You have dressings and your needles. Obviously what dressings you use, what size needles you use. Then at the bottom you have your allergies and stuff like that, which is really good. Here on the back side, it looks like it's just basically vital signs. This is a very kind of simplistic sheet, which covers everything because in a serious situation like a trauma situation, someone's really hurt, like shit hits the fan type of stuff, you want to keep it simple. You don't need anything too complicated.
Yeah, that's an unexpected detail. I know, I guess in the IFAK videos that I've seen, something like this, you don't really see too often. Everyone's got all the tourniquets and the bandages and all that, but something to make sure you keep track of the care that has been provided, that's kind of a cool detail. And straight from the operator. So I think we got one more thing in there.
Yes, we do.
Maybe one more. Yep, that's the last bit. Two more. Okay, all right.
So this is basically a sterile bandage. So I've never seen anything like this. This is actually really cool. So here you have your little tear tabs. So pretty much if there's any type of open wound, you want to sterilize it, you want to clean it out, get all that stuff out of there. And this, you tear this off and this is all sterile underneath. So basically saying it is perfectly clean. So you put this right open an open wound. and you just apply pressure to it, or you wrap it up in gauze or in a bandage, anything like that to kind of help keep it in place. You also have the rule of nines as well, so this makes me think this is a burn pad since it has the rule of nines on here. So maybe there's some sort of like burn cream, anything like that, ointment to kind of help keep infections down, help with healing. So that's interesting. So this is another pretty useful thing to have and very good in combat situations. So this right here is a chest seal. So usually what chest seals do is to help keep air inside your chest. There's one side that isn't there's no tape or any sticky substance on, and you put it over the wound and you make sure that 3 sides of the wound are covered and it's sealed on. One side will act like a little valve. So when the person breathes in, that negative pressure sucks that little flap down. So it doesn't suck any air in or anything, it just kind of holds it down, and then when they breathe out, it kind of opens up and will help relieve a little bit of that air.
All right, so now that we've taken a look at all the contents of this IFAK, what would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, and why did you rate it that way?
So on a scale from 1 to 10, that's tough because, like I said before, everyone kind of sets everything up for their use. I would say it's probably a good 7, 8, mostly because it has the basics you need. It has your tourniquet, it has your pressure bandage, it has your IVs, it has very critical things that are needed in the process of helping someone or at least stabilizing someone. Overall, to kind of get it up a little higher, like we mentioned before, maybe throw in some quick clot, something to kind of, another hemostatic bandage, some sort of pressure dressing or ACE wrap, and just some packing gauze, roller gauze, just something to kind of get into the larger shrapnel wounds, gunshot wounds, like anything like that.
I know the operator that I did get this from was a sniper for many years in the KSK. So obviously he did have a buddy with him, the spotter, at all times, most likely. So definitely, at least there was another person with him. Thank you, Shane, for coming on. I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your expertise about this. Again, I didn't know what pretty much any of this stuff was aside from the water bag. So thank you again. I appreciate it. I hope you guys got a little bit of a cool peek at what is in a KSK operator's IFAK. As always, this is the Gear.Locker, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cool.
Thank you so much.